Very warm welcome to user interface design 5th module. Last few classes we have discussed about formulating of testing cases in terms of identifying the screens and then user interface design procedures and the type of testing and the need of testing, and then we discussed about prototypes and different types of prototypes, and then we discussed about the methods of prototypes and its uses in the previous classes, and also we have discussed about the testing procedures along with testing plans, testing participations, getting feedbacks and response, and then with respect to the restarting of testing. Okay, restarting of testing means once again the prototypes testing, if any modification required, we need to go for the testings. This is one part of our testing unit in the 5th module, and the next part we need to understand some of the concepts, something like hypermedia, okay, which you people have already come across in the previous subject. What do you mean by hypermedia, like that? We will in today's session we will elaborate that hypermedia and all. So what do you mean by hypermedia? Okay, this is the first topic we need to discuss in today's class. Okay, hypermedia is nothing but the logical extension of hypertext. You people have already come across with the terms called hypertext. What do you mean by hypertext and all? Hypertext is nothing but a link for moving to a particular locations. That will be done through the graphics word. Okay, that means if any icon is there, you need to click on it, it will go to a particular, or else if you are using a audio, so that is also called as an hypermedia, and video is also an hypermedia, and plain text is also hypermedia. Here in the sense that hypermedia is the combination of all the parameters like graphics, audio, video, information planes, like that. Those things are used for linking for the another pages is called as hypermedias. So usually this type of hypermedia is used in multimedia concept, multimedia, where it used for linking for one pages to the another pages. We call it as graphical hypergraphics. Okay, we call it as hypergraphics. Okay, so that means it contains all the informations in it. By clicking on it, we can go for the another aspects. This is one concept we need to discuss. The next concept we need to discuss with respect to the information searching. You know that there are so many information available in the internet. So to search such informations, we need to provide a particular tool, something like a Google. Okay, Google is one of the software which is used for searching the informations. So whenever we perform such type of operations is being utilized by the hypermedia itself. By the hypermedia, information searching is being done through the hypermedia, but it will be used some programming tool. Basically it uses some programming tools for performing a searching operations. Okay, so by using some variables in it, by using some nodes of a external files. Okay, usually all the informations are stored in the form of files. So that files is being linked with the external nodes. Okay, by you, and that type of operations is called as information search. So many softwares has been developed for searching. So not only a Google things, we are using some macro, orthoware, and Android, Adobe Flash. Okay, those people are being used for searching techniques. Okay, the searching technique means it's usually a database. It's usually a databases where data is stored in a logical order. So one database is being connected with the another databases by using a W3C community. That means Internet of World Wide Web consolment. Okay, that means whenever we performing a searching information searching operations which is developed by the various developers is through the web World Wide Web itself. That is one aspects we need to discuss. And the third aspects we need to discuss with respect to the visualization. Okay, so this plays the major role in the interface design because we design enormous and very good things, but if the visualization is not proper, then the interfaces is failed. So for that purpose, the visualization techniques needs to be concentrated when we are discussing with respect to the user interface design. So usually visualizations will be done for a particular components such as images. So images in the screen should be done in a systematic way. That means the images which we are presenting should consume a less memory and the less processing time for accessing the things. The images will be done, the visualization should be done for the diagrams. So whenever we are performing a diagrams, sometimes we are not using an appropriate sizes of the diagrams. So even in the animations also, animations and the diagram is different. So animation is the flow of informations presented, okay, but the diagram is a static one. So both comes under the same categories. Mainly these type of things is used for information representations in the screen. Okay, that needs to be done, and whenever we performing a visualizations, we need to consider a specific technologies like something like reinforcement, abstracting of the data, visualizations, and enforcing of cognitive data and hypothesis, reasoning like that. So what do you mean by that? That means whenever we are presenting any images in the screen, so that screen may be represented in the form of indirect fashions. For example, if I am using these type of symbols, people will be thinking it is a book. Okay, so like that some indirect representations of informations can be used in the visualizations. So in various fields, the visualizations will be used. It will be used in the education field, so where our information needs to be represented in a diagrammatic fashions. So even the information want to convey to the users, so that can be done through the textual informations or through the visual informations only we can use it. So in education field, so we are using an visualizations, and it is used in information field. Okay, it is used in information field where the information representations also can be represented in the form of images, diagrams, or animations aspects. Okay, so even in the form of knowledge representations, so sometimes whenever we want to present our informations, so if you want to present our informations in a textual fashions, we need to use 4 words. Let us take an example. Instead of that, if you are using a single image type, so it will be easy for transferring the informations very widely. Even the uneducated people also can be known how do we represent the knowledge. And with respect to the product, okay, so the product in the sense that the final criteria which we have used it in the for delivery. Okay, if you are representing with the good graphical user interfaces, visual interfaces, then the product will be used very well. Like that, all the tasks in terms of hypermedia communication, it is usually used for visualization. Okay, it is used usually perform an operations for visualization of the operations. See here, the hypermedia is an interdependent for information searching as well as information representations. The main purpose of hypermedia is for the communications through displaying some informations in the form of images. Also sometimes it will be used for interacting with the other interface devices without having a textual informations. To perform such type of informations, we are using some techniques, visualization techniques, something like constructing isosurface materials. See here, we are displaying the images. So the display images needs to be developed by using certain utilization of the spaces. Okay, and it should occupy some spaces in the screen. So that needs to be taken care while we are developing it, developing the visual visualization of any images in the screen. So that will be done by direct volume interfaces, and as well as in the form of tables and metrics. Even the information is not only in visualization, it's not only the images, even the diagram also be considered as a visualizations. The table is one of the example, and metrics is one of the example, and chart is one of the representations, and graphs is one of the representations of an visual ideas, and Van Neumann diagram is one of the way of representation, and Euclidean diagram is one of the way of representation, like that. So that means visualization, it's not only for the images, so it is also for the diagrams which can be presented in a many aspects. All these type of informations will be shared by World Wide Web. So where it is something like a universal access through it. So while we are discussing about the user interface design, so we discuss three means of user interface design. One means of interface design is with respect to the graphical representations. The another means is with respect to the web systems. The third one is a printed medias. All these, the web system is being represented by using the World Wide Web protocols. It is one of the protocols where it is used standardized. When we are using these worldwide protocols, we use a hyperlink only. We are hyperlink for connectivity of the web loaders. That is the things. So all these type of operations which we are doing in the interfaces needs to follow some standard guidelines which is being developed by the World Wide Web. This World Wide Web is being developed by different languages, something like Java, something like JavaScripts. It uses the concept of JavaScripts for developing the web pages like that. Okay, not only that, so in these concepts, not only the programming languages we are using it, so here we are also using something called web publishers. Okay, web publishers. So this is the things where our web page needs to be published by considering a publishers. Okay, these publishers will be used for sharing the informations, and these publishers is called as web hosters. Okay, all the peoples are known it. Okay, so whenever we want to perform an operations in the as an interfaces, we need to connect an web pages, loading and upload, downloading, uploading, as well as presenting informations. That will be done by the web host. That is being universally accepted by the World Wide Web. This is one of the concepts we need to discuss, where we touched upon the concept something like what do you mean by hypermedia. Hypermedia is nothing but the representation of the informations in the screen in the form of navigating informations. Okay, the main purpose of hypermedia is for the searching the content and as well as representing the informations in the graphical fashion, or else it is in the form of diagrammatical fashions. And various techniques are available for visualizations in terms of educational aspects, information aspects, knowledge sharing and product delivery in an efficient manner. This is with one aspects of understanding the concept with respect to the hypermedia visualization systems as well as the World Wide Web. Next we need to talk about something called interfacing tools. Okay, so whenever we are developed in a user interface, so we have developed a user interface with respect to different protocols which we have discussed wider. So now the interfaces are starting from prototypes, type of interfaces like that. Now we have been finalized with the language oriented prototype tool. Okay, this is one of the tools which we are using it, and it is most widely and efficient way of using this tool for designing a user interface things. So this language oriented prototype tool is used as an interfaces. Okay, that means some software, it is being developed by through software, okay, for testing purpose. Okay, where in this interface we have an option for writing a code, and we have some graphical tools for representing the informations like that. So one of the tool which we have to discuss with respect to the user interface graphical tool is Apex. Okay, it is a developer's person. Okay, one of a developer who has developed it. Okay, it is a commercial software. It is a commercial software. Commercial software means like the people who wants to test the user interfaces needs to purchase these applications for testing it. So it provides a test bed. Okay, test bed, instead of developing our prototype by ourselves, already inbuilt prototypes will be available in the graphical toolkits, and we can use many easy to use tools for accessing the components available in the toolbox for developing a graphical prototypes. By this we can reduce the time in spending the developing of a prototypes by the sketches and by the interactive papers like that. By in the computer itself, directly by using a language oriented prototypes, we can develop the tool by it. Okay, by after developing a tool, we can use a converter to convert that into a real world prototypes, so that the users can use this prototype for checking it. Okay, this is one aspect. Okay, the second aspect of a prototype is Bex Pro. So it is also one of the prototype like proprietary commercial prototypes, which is being developed by C and C++ as well as with the Java developers. Okay, by using since it is a programming developers, there is a wide way of changing the prototypes. Since it is a test bed type of protocols, only the available prototypes we need to use it. Here the prototypes can be modified, okay, by using Java, C++ and C languages. So we can develop a graphical user projects by it, by our own graphical user product, where we can modify it, so that we can easily configure the required objects, okay, required components. But here we are taking a interfaced components. This is one of the second tool we are going to learn. And the third tool, this is the second tool we are going to learn, and this is the first tool. The next tool is with respect to the next tool is with respect to something called ICE interface. So this is as the name is an interfaces, it's already uses some extension with respect to the tools. So this is a extension of the existing prototype which we are developing. So whether we are using a proprietary interface tools for a test bed type of prototypes, or whether we are using a C++ Java type of prototypes. If you are using a ICE interfaces, it is something like a extension tool. We are calling some of the template for developing it. This is the third type of tools we are testing prototypes tools are available. So by adding these, we can use the test bed prototypes plus we can also edit that test bed, and we can modify the prototypes according to the requirements of the users. This is called as an interfaces. So we can develop that interfaces and we can use it. This is with respect to the user interface tool. So along with this user interface tool, we need to discuss with respect to the testing tools also. Software testing tools also, that is also been given with respect to the user interface tool. So but we have come across with different user software testing tools. So whatever the interfaces which we have developed in terms of graphics, okay, in terms of graphics, so in terms of components of the web, components of the web in the sense that menus and navigation bar as well as window which we have developed, and control command on Windows. All these needs to be checked in the form of unit test. So in terms of integrated test, okay, as we are done in the software testing tools. So similarly, we are using something called quick test professionals. This is a common tool which we are using in the software testing for all the development. That means, so usually this type of testing is a web testing, so which we call it as front end testing. Okay, front end testing features. So in front end testing features also, we are using a common QPT tools for testing our process. So usually whenever we are using this tool, this is a graphical interface tool where use it this graphical user interface tool is used for automation purpose. So automatically we are developing the prototypes. These prototypes will be analyze the users opinions, okay, users opinion and usages like that. So this is one of the tool which we are using it. The second tool is WinRunner. Okay, WinRunner. So these are the common tool which we are using for software development things. This WinRunner is an interactive tool. So how we are using a C++, Java tool like that. So this is used for it's a WinRunner is an interactive tools where it will act like a functionality testing. Okay, so each functions will be checked individually and we can finalize the testing operations. Okay, next type of things is load runners. That means this tool is used for testing the different types of applications into a divisions. That means, so as I was listing out the components of the web, so it will be mentioned as a menu, as well as screen testing, as well as window testing, like that. The each components is being subdivided into each pieces, okay, subdivided into each pieces, and each pieces will be identified and checked by each part of the things, okay, by in the loader run software. It is also one of the piece of the software which is being used in it, okay. The last type of software is nothing but a test directors. This is an inbuilt tool where it can integrate all types of testing materials, starting from the test bed tools and automations, okay, and functionality test, as well as individual test, like that. So test directors is a management tool which supports all types of operations. From these we can perform a regression test in the sense that, so any variations can be, all type of variations can be checked, all types of functionalities can be checked by using a test directories, and it is acts like a e-business tool. E-business tool. For these, even not only it is testing the individual components, it's also generating the record. It is also generating the record for the each test operations, and along with the test cases. Even manually we can also write the test cases in the file test directories, and we can upload it. So by these we can perform a regression test as well as the functional test, so where it can be applied on almost all the components. This is how actually we have come across with respect to the testing the user interfaces in this module, starting from identifying the spaces of the test and identifying the component of the test, and generating the ideas, and the users, we generate the ideas and we give that ideas to the users requirements, and then we test all the components with respect to the usability test itself, and we use different types of prototypes. Along with today's sessions, we have discussed about some of the components of the user interface, starting from the hypermedia, where it is used as an hyperlink, that means linking between the audio, video, as well as the textual informations for navigating to a next locations, and mainly that navigation information is used for searching purpose, as well as visualization is the major important with respect to it. All these operations will be used by the World Wide Web, that means internet. So that means the graphical interfaces, user interfaces is being represented in the form of web pages, where web pages can be represented in a different components. Even the interface components also will be has been discussed in today's class, something like ePerks and Box Pro and ICE, like that. So along with that, we discussed about the general software tools, something called quick test professionals, win loaders, win runner, as well as a test directories, where each components will be represented in the each fashions. Thank you so much. This is, we have completed the 5th module, starting from the beginning till the end. Thank you so much.